Okay, hi everybody, this took a bit longer, and this is not Underworld, this is in fact Angel of Darkness. We had to switch games briefly. But yeah, this is, if not as good, then definitely better. So I'm ready on time? Time? Okay, then 3, 2, 1, go. So, this is Angel of Darkness. This is the 6th game in the series, and it's somewhat infamous because it was released in a rather, let's say, unfinished state. So, one of the things we can do is we can clip through basically any collision we want. As you saw right there, by quick saving while we're crouching against it. And we can also, oh boy, there is some delay. We can side jump into walls to hit triggers. This is because, from what we understand, the executable we're using has somewhat broken coordinate calculation. So if you jump into a wall, Lara's meshes appear to stretch across the entire map. And with that she can hit basically, well, any trigger. And the most useful ones are, of course, the level end triggers. So with that out of the way, we're almost done with the first level actually. We just need to pick up this key and go out of this door. Okay, so now we're looking for a lovely lady, and we go to her by jumping into another wall. Great. So this is Margot Carvier. And this was one of the RPG elements they tried to implement.
Mademoiselle Carvier, I have just come from Werner's apartment.
And how is Werner?
I'm afraid Werner is dead.
So basically I have to give answers. There are good answers and bad answers.
It's all a bit vague.
I'm not allowed to give more than one bad answer. If I want her to give me the notebook I'm looking for, if I give more than one bad answer, I have to pick it up myself, which takes longer than asking her to give it to me. So this is one of the many infamous segments in this game, just because of the fabulous voice acting. As you can tell, I'm playing in English. English is, in any percent, which is what I'm doing, by far the fastest. So that's why we're using it. In glitches, on the other hand, we would use Japanese, which actually would also have faster voice lines. However, the Japanese version only was released with later versions which have less glitches. Also, I have an interesting sound delay, which probably will not help with this run, but I'll try, whatever.
He left his notebook. He was spooked. You still haven't explained what happened.
There was gunfire. That's all I can recall.
Then you were shot? Did you kill him?
I can't remember. It's all a blur.
Miss Croft, I strongly suggest that you talk to the police.
Mademoiselle, I was a good friend of Werner's. I didn't kill him. I didn't.
If you say so.
Do you have the notebook?
So, story-wise, we're currently in Paris. And basically our old mentor, Werner von Croy, was killed, which is what we're talking about right now.
Perhaps the police are right in suspecting you.
And basically Lara has been framed for the murder.
The notebook?
And there we have the notebook. So we're now able to leave this place. Interestingly, we can actually skip that entire conversation, which obviously would save a lot of time. However, we have not found a way to then exit the apartment, because from what we can tell, you actually need the notebook, like it's part of the trigger that allows you to exit that area. So now we're basically done in Paris itself. Like, of course, if you go to Paris, you want to go to the Louvre, the world-renowned museum. So that sounds like a good idea, right? So yeah, obviously, if you want to go to the Louvre, you go into a pawn shop and you try to jump into a wall. Except that this is not how you do it, so let me exit and enter again. There we go. Next try. Okay. And then you jump into a sewer wall, and there we go, you're in the loop. That's perfect. So now in the Louvre, we can't really do the trigger thing where we just jump into a wall here because we would get a bad trigger, so we would actually hit the death trigger. That's not really all that helpful. So here is especially where it will be a bit finicky with trying to do this crouch thing. Oh, it's actually worked nice. Okay. That's fine. I actually might try to do a new oh, that's nice. So once you're out of bounds here, you can actually do a swan dive. If you're in a good position, you can actually slide along this out of bounds edge there to speed it up. And now you can see this area is not loaded. However, it's only the textures that are not loaded. You can see collision is still there, or well, you basically can't see. I'm now going down a staircase, which you obviously also can't see. However, you can kind of see that Lara sometimes takes some steps down there. It's not the cleanest staircase there is, but you know, I kind of managed. So that's one jump. And then hopefully we can hit here the door to enter the archaeological dig, which as we know is definitely underneath the Louvre. However, this archaeological dig we don't really care about, so let's just jump into a wall and just get out of there. Okay, now we really want to get out of the Louvre, so let's just run past all these security guards. And you know, Paris, that's kind of done now. Let's just do one final visit of our former mentor's apartment, and then we will exit and actually go to Prague, which is also a beautiful city. So here I will first kick in this door, which will make Lara say that she feels stronger now, or her legs feel stronger now.
My legs feel stronger.
Which basically means she can sprint, because that makes sense, right? So always kick in doors, basically. And then we try to crouch safe into this bookshelf and collect a much stronger weapon. That's however not where we want to do that. Rather over here. Okay, that's probably... oh, that actually worked. Nice. Okay, so this is the weapon we want, because we're actually going to fight a boss here. We're supposed to fight him like multiple phases while he's running around the house, but that's kind of slow, so we try to do that a bit faster. However, first we need to get there, and this wall seems pretty well fit for that. Like that. Okay. So now we will fight that boss, but as I said, this weapon is pretty powerful, so it's not going to be the most, you know, interesting fight. In fact, I'm just holding down the action button, and yeah. The weapon kind of does the rest for me. Okay, so now we're in Prague. I'm going to toss down a save here because we'll talk to another NPC. Wait, oh. When you forget your setups. Nice. Okay, so here we are. And here we go. So we're getting another conversation here. However, this one is rather infamous for soft locking, so let's see if that happens.
Have you changed your mind about the Strahov code?
Yes, I thought I'd give you another chance. But I want the story, the events in Paris, and whatever happens here.
It's a deal, Luddick.
This passcode will get you into the warehouse area. It's only a low-level pass.
Take it from there. Have you tried this? I can take it from there.
And it's soft locked, of course. Nice, good.
Have you tried this? I can take it from there.
I just say that was text, so I have to actually close the game here. And start it again. So luckily I tossed down a save. Nice. So that's always the highlight of any Angel of Darkness run. But for this one I'll blame tech. Okay, next try. Now technically we can actually skip this guy. However, for RTA it would be faster to just talk to him. There is actually also an RTA strat where we skip him. However, I did not practice that because I did not anticipate to run this game here, so I will just do it the hard way.
Have you changed your mind about the Strahov code?
Yes, I thought I'd give you another chance. But I want the story, the event in Paris, and whatever happens here.
It's a deal, Luddick.
This passcode will get you into the warehouse area. It's only a low-level pass, but at least you'll be inside the complex.
I can take it from there. Have you tried this code yourself?
Me? No, the place gives me the creeps. Workers have gone missing and all kinds of spooky stuff.
What goes on in there?
God knows. I'd give my innards to find out. But it's way too gothic for me. If you uncover anything, give me first shot at it, huh?
Sure thing. Let's talk in the car.
The Strahov isn't far.
Okay, we managed. So that's the second try. That's still fine. So now we're in the aforementioned Strahov, and here we kind of have to get inside. So the evil mafia kind of organization is in here, and they have some pretty massive walls here. But I want to get past them, but kind of fast. So I'm trying my best to just ram my head through the wall here. However, we kind of want to do that fast before the guards catch us, or the turrets there, in fact. But this is still fine, I think. Hopefully. We'll see. Okay, next I will actually try to do a glitch we call the leg break, which will extend Lara's range for picking up items quite significantly. And while we're picking up items, we're actually invulnerable. So since Lara's walking towards an item in a pickup animation that is quite far away, she's going through these lasers while completely ignoring them and actually setting them off, so they will not bother us anymore afterwards. So that's great. And next we need to trigger a specific enemy that will drop a keycard once we kill him. Up here. So we want to get inside this air duct here. Go around. And he should spawn. There he is. Great. So we still have our nice Viper weapon here, which hopefully will do the trick. Nice. So that's the keycard we needed, and now we need to go into the control room. And there is a kind of structure here, but let's ignore that. It doesn't really exist. And there will be another guard storming out here. Hopefully he drops, yeah, that looks nice. So we dropped the ammo close to the door there, which means once we'll pick it up, we'll just walk through the door. Because that makes sense, of course. Okay, so we've basically done everything we could, because now we deactivated the laser, which are guarding which were guarding the exit. There's just this set of lasers left, which we can bypass with a simple side flip, and we're out of here. Okay. So I'm in the bio-research facility. You can sprint down both of those set of stairs, but it's kind of unpredictable, so ignore that. There is a door here, but by now you should know what we do with doors. We ignore them, of course. And here we are getting a longer flyby cutscene. There's no cutscene, aber. Warte. Okay, ist gut, ist gut. So, anyway, so that guy you saw there got set free, but we will try our best to just ignore him and instead go to this wall. I completely screwed that up. For some reason I thought this was one of the classic Tomb Raiders, so I did the wrong setup there. Let's hope the game didn't crash there. Okay, but I will reload anyways. Interesting. I can't see if he's right. Okay, there we go. So, if you remember the Louvre, this will look familiar to you, and by familiar I mean you can't see anything. So basically the only way you can really get past these in a somewhat speedy manner is by just basically remembering how the area looks, and then just hope to God that the controls do what they are supposed to do for once. So here I will do our first so-called, well, not really the first one, but the first remarkable one, moon jump. So basically if you save in mid-air, you will retain some of the momentum. Why didn't I save? Interesting. Which will extend the range of your jumps, which is good. So now we just need to get to the other side, which you can't see, and through this set of doors. Out of here, cancel this cutscene, and now we kind of want to play something different, I guess. Like Lara's all nice and that, but you know, why not play as a male character for once? I think that's a pretty decent wish. So let's play as a male character. So this is Curtis. Curtis has basically the exact same moveset as Lara does, except that he can't sprint and he can't swim. But that's fine, because hopefully he won't have to do any of those two. What he can do really well though is he can crouch really well. And by really well I mean he can do the exact same thing Lara does, where she crouches through walls, except that he doesn't even have to save for it. You just crouch against it and it works, so that's nice. So now we're in yet another area where you can't see anything except for the doors, and those are my only real point of reference. So there should be one here, yes, nice. And on the next door I will actually do another leg break. I only need to interact with this door to be in a consistent position. And this was the leg break. So now you can see, or maybe you can't, yeah, there you can see it. Curtis' right leg did disappear, that shows that you actually did the leg break. So once again I'm walking towards an item, picking it up, and just completely ignoring collision or anything that would hurt me. Obviously you can't see the walls in this case, but trust me, there are walls there. And there should also be an air duct here, which we successfully grabbed. And now we just jump around some more and hope we can hit the level entry. And we're out of there. Nice. Apparently there's something funny going on in chat, I don't know. Hopefully nobody's bullying. Anyways, so that was the first part of Curtis's segment. We're now coming to the more, let's say, fighting-based segment. So basically we're just going to the mini-boss of this area, which is the so-called Proto, and it is pretty infamous because it is the biggest RNG element in any run of this game, basically. So the Proto itself is really not that dangerous, and by not that dangerous I mean you basically have to really try to die to it. However, the problem is it can take a very long time to die. So the fight itself is constructed as follows. The Proto has 4 phases, they're all basically identical. He will come down to the ground, you shoot him a bit, or it. Then it will be KO'd and lie on the ground for a while, then it will raise again, you shoot it some more, and then it retracts into the air duct on the far end of this room. So after that it can spawn in one of 3 random locations, one of which is pretty fast, which is basically right around here, and the other 2 being around here, and these take considerably longer. So this was the first phase, now it's going up. So now it can spawn in one of 3 locations. I can't even hear, so I can't even tell where it's spawning, so I hope I can see that. Yeah, no, actually that was a fast spawn, nice. Anyway, so that's one rather big element of RNG. However, the biggest one is the very final phase. Because in the final phase, for whatever reason, sometimes you can just skip the second part. So you can see it's KO'd now, it's just lying on the ground, I can't attack it. Now I can attack it and it will go back into the air duct. However, in the last phase, for whatever reason, sometimes it just goes down to the ground and the fight ends immediately. So let's see if that will happen. I highly doubt it, because it's actually not all that common. And that will be a slow spawn. So now it will come down from the bridge over there. Yeah, you can see it there. So that's one of the 2 slow spawns. That's still fine. Like, I don't even know what my time is right now, but 1944, that should still be an estimate. Hopefully, maybe. So one more phase and then we should be done with this highly exciting fight, which you can tell they had a lot of work to put into because they didn't even have music or anything. So that's perfectly fine. The only music in this battle really is Curtis's gunshots. And that is another slow spawn. So we had 2 out of 3 slow spawns. That's not all that terrific, but we will see if we at least get a fast final phase. Otherwise, oh well. So if this is a fast final phase, actually I could do no, okay, it's not. So if this would have been fast, the battle would have been over by now, but it will raise once more and then I can shoot it. But that's fine. So if you're sick of Curtis, then you're in luck because that was actually the last time we will really see him. So he will now pull this lever very slowly, because you can't even do that properly. And that's it for Curtis. So now we're in the aquatic research area. This is a really complex level because you have to side flip once and then you're done. I really like that level because it doesn't expose me as much as the other levels with how bad I am. And now we're swimming. Swimming is, as you might expect, pretty awkward in this game. However, you will see we can swim into some pretty interesting areas. However, first we have to surface for that, and that's a bit further away in this level, so hopefully I go the correct path here. So there we are. Now we have to do another one of those crouch saves. Actually the last one. Oh, that might have been a bit too early. Yeah. That could have worked. Or not. Don't trust me ever. Maybe. Okay, there we go. So now we're out of bounds on this side. And I want to go back into water. I like swimming. So let's go back into the water. But let's go back into the water out of bounds, because then we can just swim to the level end trigger. That's a very good idea, because that cuts out a pretty infamous fight with a somewhat annoying boss. All I have to do is kind of see the water there and swim towards it, and that should be the correct yes. So we obviously killed that boss, with Curtis nonetheless. And now we're in for the final stretch, so let's see how that goes. So here we do some more moon jumps, because you actually should have the final leg upgrade for these jumps to make them. However, obviously we don't, but we can quick save and quick load to extend our jump range. Lucky us. And then we bonk against this ladder, but that's not actually intended. Okay, so here this room also is supposed to have a bit more of a puzzle element to it than what we're doing here, but that's fine. We actually can try to, or we should try to skip this trap here with a very complex technique called side flipping, so very effective trap. And now in fact we are already approaching the final boss of the game. So the final boss is Eckhart, and since you were able to follow the story really well, he's basically trying to recreate an ancient race, superior race, but you know, we're Lara Croft, so we need to avoid that. That is a very awkward position, but it should still work. Yes, ignore the traps, it's fine. Also try to ignore this door, because I will do the same, because in this game you just stealth against it and drill through. And now it's just one more door between us and the final boss. So I really hope you're ready for this amazing boss fight. Like this is one of my favorite boss fights. I will actually save for it, it's really kind of dangerous. time. Oh, I tried. It's Ludwig's fault. He soft locked, so. But yeah. So basically, they put the level end trigger at the very top of the room, which makes sense because that's where you collect the final item. But yeah, they didn't expect us to just jump up there from the ground. So what is a boss fight? I don't know. But yeah, that was Angel of Darkness. I hope you enjoyed it because it's by far the best Tomb Raider. Yeah, screw the new generation. This is where it's at. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the marathon.